Chemical leakages of ships can cause fire. So that means nowadays we have that experience of chemical leakages and how the ship goes kind of disaster when causing these chemical leakages. So in this content we can discuss about the material safety data sheet we call MSDS and identify how this data sheet can use for this kind of leakage detections. Then purpose of MSDS and hazards and about the content and some discussion about the prevention of fire. It's MSDS, Material Safety Data Sheet. A ship has to carry different types of cargo, which includes oil cargo, chemical cargo, and cargo in gaseous form. So these type of goods are hazardous for marine environment as well as for the health of seafarer. So apart from carrying cargo, the ship carries different types of chemicals and solutions which are used for several marine operations. A material safety data sheet is provided for such cargo and also for chemicals carried on board which are used for maintenance purpose. So some of these chemicals are used for this maintenance purpose and some of them are used for kind of daily usages and also some delivering options. So purpose of knowing MSDS, it is a carried on board for ensuring the safety of marine environment and seafarers, and MSDS provide useful and accessible information on a product uh, carried on board, so either as a cargo or for operational purposes. The MSDS is to be carried out for all individuals as a material carried on board along with proper personal protective equipments called PPEs, so that in the time of emergency appropriate procedures and swift response can be achieved in that situation. So it is better that you have that allowing to MSDS to using this kind of purposes. Then hazardous on board ship. So goods present on board ship that can be hazardous on the ship and its crews are different hazardous goods like fuel, oil, lube, chemicals, LNG, LPG, etc. So cargo carried in containers under IMDG code, they have some kind of procedures to follow when you are using these things. So fuel oil and lube oil is carried on a bunker are also hazardous in nature and can harm humans and environment as well as for maintenance and operational purposes. Different kind of chemicals are used on board which can be hazardous. So they are mostly used as cleaning agents for water treatments, for dosing in fuel, and as an additive in sanitation system. And most of the time, the worker should have that knowledge when the ship carrying out this kind of chemicals. So content of MSDS, it should have good knowledge to use MSDS for the purpose of knowing these chemicals. So hazard identification along with identification of the mixture or content, composition or information of the ingredients, then firefighting measures, first aid measures, accidental release measure, handling and storage criteria, and personal protection and exposure control method, chemical and physical properties of the mixture, and information about the toxicity of the materials which are carrying on board or sometimes in the containers as well as whatever they use for maintenance purposes as well, and ecological and disposal information. So that is very important, disposing, whether you know how these materials or these chemicals are going to expire, what are the dates, how they are arranged according with the storage properties, transport and regulatory information, additional information on the preparation and revision of MSDs. Because each and every day you should keep on knowing how the material inside, and you know that before and before systems are there, but some of them may occur due to some additional uh, environmental conditions as well. So fire protection, it's going to be a crucial for this one. So before protection, you need to detect. Then fire detection and firefighting on container ships. And cargo holds are often fitted with an active smoke detection system, whereas hereby air is drawn from the cargo holds through metal tubes, so that air is then passed through smoke detectors, which in the event of activation alert the crew to a possible fire. So there are two main firefighting methods on a container ship. The first is to fill the cargo hold or engine room where the fire has been detected with carbon dioxide CO2 gas. Gas is delivered from banks of gas bottles stored in a designated compartment to the affected area through the smoke detector sampling tubes. The second is to use traditional fire hoses or misting, what we call sprinkler system, to apply water to the affected area. That means after detecting. So in extreme cases where a fire in a cargo hold cannot be controlled, it is sometimes possible flood the relevant cargo hold with water. So this is often a last resort measure, as it will probably result in at least the partial loss of the cargo in that hold and might cause the vessel to become unstable. As example, calcium hypochlorite. The calcium hypochlorite chemical formula CaOCl2 is an IMG listed cargo which is well known to have caused explosions and fires on ships. So it should be segregated from other cargo and shaded from sunlight, because it is very toxic when exposed to sunlight. So away from heat sources such as HFO wind tanks and a space with free air circulation, the IMDG document suggests that no more than 14 tons are carried alone. A 2050 shipping container will potentially contain significantly more than this figure. In bulk quantities and when exposed to temperatures in excess of around 50 degrees Celsius, calcium hydrochloride can begin to decompose chemically. The precise mechanism of the decomposition process is complex, but in simple terms, it involves the evolution of several relatively stable calcium containing species as well as common gas. Most importantly, oxygen and heat are liberated. The decomposition of the hydrochloride is shown below, where ClO minus is the hypochlorite ion as dissociated from the calcium. Then the ClO minus becomes C minus and O2. The combination of an oxygen-rich environment and elevated temperature is clear condition favorable for rapid decomposition and combustion. So if fuel constraint, for instance, in a shipping container, those conditions may lead to an explosion. This is an example. So basics fire prevention on board ships. The best way to deal with fires on board ships is to prevent them rather than letting them occur. So breaking out of fire in a place where no fire exists called ignition. As fire is a term used for fire occupation in a new place as a result of flame from an existing fire in a nearby place. The ignition source. So we need to identify the ignition source. So fires on board ships can be prevented by finding and rectifying leakages of fuel oil, lubrication oil, and exhaust gases. So important points to consider for fire prevention on board ship. In engine room waste uh, bins goes for storing oil. Racks must have lids, covers. So oil racks should not stay lying around or stuck at unnecessary places. Receptions with cover should be provided at each floor and on both sides. So high pressure fuel oil pipe should not be tightened to control a leakage while the engine is running. Also, oil shouldn't be taken into uh, turbochargers during operation. Short sounding pipe should be kept shut with plugs. Never should they be left in open position for the sake of convenience. Cases have been reported wherein oil has spilled out from these